Get ready for Netflix's gripping new medical drama, Pulse. Set in a cutting-edge Miami trauma center, third-year resident Dr. Danny Sims is unexpectedly thrust into a promotion when beloved chief resident Dr. Xander Phillips gets suspended. Then, with the emotional and physical stakes at their highest, a storm will push the hospital and its residents to their limits. Witness how life can change in a heartbeat when you're operating under pressure. Watch Pulse, only on Netflix.
Sometimes I run, sometimes I hide, sometimes I'm scared of you. But all I really want is to hold you tight, Jamie. Treat you right, be with you day and night. Baby, all I need is time.
I don't know that song, to be honest.
You don't know Britney Spears?
Oh, I know Britney Spears.
I know you know Britney Spears, but you don't know that song.
I know Toxic. But anyway, I'm fucking fired up.
No, he's fired up. He's ready to go.
Yeah. I'm fired up, guys. I'm fired up. Welcome back to It's Just Coffee. My name's Kirk Pearson.
And I'm Rohan Cook.
And together we are It's Just Coffee. One more time, Jamie, you got to join us. It's Just Coffee. Thank you. And I really am fired up. Episode 10. Welcome, Jamie Thomson.
Episode 10, the big milestone.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
You can't even get a word in because we're just so fired up.
Fired up.
No, but seriously, good to have you on. Jamie's been on the podcast when I previously had a podcast, and then I did the podcast with Rohan. We're like, hey, we're really good. Let's do this together. Formed a better one. Now here's Jamie Thomson. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, good to be back.
And Jamie actually features on a fair few golden brown coffee videos.
He does. I would even put Jamie as our head of coffee and development working in there. And he comes in and he kind of takes the side. I think I've kind of taken the approach on golden brown of being the at-home, accessible coffee, kind of teaching people the basics. And I kind of wanted to stick with that. But Jamie was kind of, and still is my coffee mentor when we met early back in our days. So I wanted to bring him on to kind of dive into some of the deeper stuff of coffee, some of more of the knowledge. He's talked a lot about water science, brewing recipes, and all that kind
Jamie's
of stuff.
Jamie's a nerd. I mean, I mean that in the kindest possible way.
No, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, nerd.
Just annoy him. Slide into his DMs. If you got any really nerdy coffee questions, stop annoying me and just annoy Jamie. And also, he's the biggest Instagram troll that you've ever met in your life. He's just in the comment section of every video. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting comments from him before the video's even posted, just bang. And the best thing about him is some people might say he's starting fights, but it's not starting fights. He just talks to people with cold, hard facts and he'll just be like, this is why that's wrong. And of course, it just sets them off and explodes into this back and forth of just anger. But you're never going to win an argument with Jamie.
I just think it's my robotic nature. I just don't have feelings. So it's just
bleep, bloop, bleep, bloop, bleep.
Yep. He either argues about coffee or argues about NBA stats online. They're the two things that you'll find him doing in his spare time.
While we're on NBA, who we got in the playoffs?
Got to be Nuggies.
I don't see the Nuggets losing the whole thing.
Yeah, obviously I'm going to see the Celtics get to the finals, and I think that'll be the finals matchup. But man, Jokic is he's at a different level.
Machine. It's wild.
Luka Doncic playing really well as well. On the topic of NBA, before we get started, Jimmy Butler's got the big face coffee. We should get some and brew it on the podcast sometime.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Do it. Gets the Lamazza going.
Yeah,
Jimmy,
there's a little bit of synergy there.
If you haven't seen Jimmy Butler, basketball player, literally takes around his Lamazza on the private jets, on all the planes when he's traveling around. The man won't leave home without it. So big coffee nerd there.
I'm going to appeal to Jimmy right here, right now. Jimmy, come to Australia. We want you. Jimmy, we love you. Playoff Jimmy's a thing. I don't care if you say playoff Jimmy's not a thing. Playoff Jimmy is a thing, and we want you here in Australia.
And I want one of his media day haircuts. I want him to come in with a whole new
I want
look.
emo Jimmy here.
Or he could do hipster barista Jimmy. That'd be great. He could come in a flannel, tat himself up,
This
get
could be
a mo.
This is another continuation in the appeal for Jimmy to come on this podcast.
Yeah.
Jimmy, we want you. Jimmy, we need you. Jimmy, we love you.
And we're early on, so we don't know the numbers of the followers here, but maybe that's something that we can get them involved in on.
Yeah, come on, Jimmy.
Once we get in there, come on, Jimmy, tag
It's all
him,
about
add
the
him.
community if you want to build a brand. Big Face Coffee needs a community.
Yeah.
Bring it here.
And we need a sponsor.
And we need a sponsor.
Yeah,
we
so
need
that
a
should be
sponsor.
the first sponsor coming in. Now, I'm going to start off this pod with something completely uncoffee related. It just kind of occurred to me in the last, maybe few months over some time, had a great summer, all that kind of stuff. Put on a few kgs, put on a bit of weight. And Rohan is shredding. I tell you what, Rohan is going to start shredding. And we're starting it here. I'm going to use the podcast as kind of a way to make me continue doing it. So I'm going to have to do a check-in every week with my weight and see if we're knocking it down. Because how embarrassing is it going to be if I come in and I'm just like overweight on that, or I've put on weight? So I reckon put on about 4 to 5 kilos in the last like 6 months, I would say. So I'm sitting at about 91 right there. Probably want to get into that like 82 to 84 kg range. So we're sitting at 91 right now, guys. Keep checking in if you want to know the weight update, see how it's going. If anyone else is maybe going on a bit of a shred journey, let us know. Let us know how it's going for you. If you've got any tips, any ways that we can kind of burn it quicker, I'd love to know.
I can give you a hot tip. Ease up on the beers, mate.
Oh, I know. Well, that's the hardest one right there, isn't it? That's the one. Everyone's just like, as soon as you cut alcohol, you just start losing weight, just starts dropping off you. So I'm looking at the calories, getting the exercise in, and I haven't been drinking during the week. It doesn't seem like much, but just it adds up quickly when you just have those nights out where people are like, hey, let's head into the city to do this. Like, there probably wouldn't be a night if I go out for dinner with a friend, or a hangout where you're not getting a drink in the end, and that kind of thing. So keep it off on the weekdays. Have fun on the weekends. Let's see how we go.
He says this now, but I saw him in a stash of chocolates and pastries before.
Exactly.
He's off the drinks.
I know. I'm building up the weight so it's easy to drop off. I'm trying to stack some kgs, weigh myself, and then next week I'll come in. I'll be 4 kilos down.
A last supper, if you will.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into it with Jamie.
J Money, first question that I got for you. What coffee do you drink? What's your go-to coffee that you're having every day?
I would always hate having a filter coffee every day. So whether it's just making myself or batch brew out. I've recently rediscovered drinking milk coffees, probably thanks to Kirk. And first milk coffee I had of this year was one made by him.
Where'd you get that?
That was at Project Zero.
Oh, what's the name of it?
Project Zero Coffee. You're goddamn right.
Project Zero Coffee. Where's that?
140 King Street, Melbourne.
And what's that name again?
Project Zero Coffee.
Ah, perfect.
So I'm sprinkling in like 1 or 2 milk coffees a week now.
Once you get I've done that before. Once you get the taste ready again, you're like, I'm back on this.
Yeah.
I'm back on this.
I think I'm probably more like particular with the actual milk itself rather than coffee when it comes to milk coffees. So,
go on. Explain more.
Well, so milk coffees are all about balance, right? So you've got coffee in it and it's like obviously a primary ingredient, but most milk coffees have like a milk to coffee ratio of like 5 to 1. So this idea that like, hey, we're going to put great coffee in it, but then we're going to use like subpar milk. It's like, well, then you're making a subpar drink. It's like, it's a sum of the ingredients.
Well, we use Riverina Fresh at my cafe. I used to be employed by them. I stick by it. I use them. Not fresh unless it's Riverina Fresh. They're not paying me to say this, but you're more than welcome to sponsor it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'm more particular with the milk itself, and obviously I'm also quite fussy on who makes my milk coffee. So, but yeah, no, filter coffee is usually the go-to for me.
What type of filter coffee? I'm assuming you're going across the full gamut, but is there something you're preferring? Like, we going washed? Are we going natural?
I probably lean washed, but like.
I lean washed, but if you're in a competition, you use the funky natural. I see what you're doing there, Jamie Thomson. I see what you're doing.
You've got to put your feelings above the facts, right? The facts are what's going to score well. So sometimes you have to, put aside your feelings. I really don't like the idea that like a certain coffee will be good. And I think sometimes we categorize things like this is for this or this is for this. And so I'm always like to be flexible, and I like to, you guys know me quite well. I'd rather drink a different coffee every day but eat the same thing every day. So I think I'm probably different to most people who probably would be happy drinking the exact same coffee every day but eating different food. So yeah, I'd probably drink something different every day if I could. And that's how I would roll.
All right. Well, extra, read all about it. We got a little bit of coffee news coming straight at you. So I'm going to hit you with this one first. AI helps Nestle develop drought disease resistant coffee. Scientists at Nestle are using AI to map out the genomic, is that how you say it? Genomic?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Like genome?
Genomic.
Yep, genomic structure of Arabica coffee plants to uncover genetic traits that would make crops more resistant to disease and drought. Well, if we're talking about Nestle, they're definitely going to patent all of this and keep it away and not actually make the world a better place for doing it. But look, they're going to that. What do you think about this? You're a scientist. Your background's in science.
Look, it's hard because there's just how much intervention can we get, and like where do we lose? I guess obviously just even asking the previous question, like what coffee do you want to use, washed or it goes down to the fact that we're starting to really commoditize coffee itself and just thinking of it as one product rather than it being an agricultural product, and it's very different from every part. It's good to have some intervention, and look, there's been some success. Look, you look at countries like Bolivia where they had a lot of trouble with leaf rust in the early 2000s, and they're a country that if you go back to there, they were probably producing 6 times as much coffee as they are now. And they invested in actually planting naturally occurring leaf rust resistant coffees. So, so basically like you're looking at varieties and like most of sort of like your Kenyan style varieties, your Batian, SL28s, and rather than obviously doing the full intervention themselves. So I think there can be positives from this, but I think transparency is still the most important thing.
Right? Leaf rust like a fungal infection of the coffee leaf, right?
Yeah. So it's
I think I had that once. And also, that's a good point here. We just have our producer sitting off camera just giving us the 2 hands up in the air with the shrugged shoulders saying, what is leaf rust? We need to get him a mic because I think we can set him up as the everyman, as the layman.
We've got another one.
Off mic who can just be popping in with some questions like, Jamie, what the hell are you talking about with leaf rust? Because I think we can get so deep in the weeds sometimes that sometimes those simple questions maybe go over our head.
Yeah, we'll get him one. All right, I'm on to the next one. I didn't mean to sound so blunt there. The world's first beanless espresso. Atomo beanless coffee is handcrafted without coffee beans. We source farm-grown superfoods from upcycled ingredients to match the same 28 compounds found in beans, delivering everything you expect from your cup. Minus a planet impact.
You know what I have to say about that?
What?
Boo. Look, I'm not going to be a hater. I would say I'll try everything once. Love to try it to see what it's actually like. But no, that doesn't sound good to me.
All right, I'm gonna go with the last one, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Italian coffee roaster Lavazza is set to purchase a greater stake in vending machine operator RVS Group. Dun, dun, dun. With an agreement to fully acquire the business in 2027. Now, it's always where there's smoke, there's fire. We're talking vending machine coffee worldwide. What are we talking here? Because I've seen Market Lane here in Melbourne do a coffee vending machine, got smashed into once. That was unfortunate. Must have really been craving a coffee, those people. Yeah, I'd like to see this. Actually, I'm into this.
And when we're talking coffee vending machines, are we talking about literally just like vending, spitting out coffee? Not like the Market Lane vending machine, right?
Yeah, so your Market Lane is like a chips packet machine where it's like got roasted beans and rather than obviously it allows you to buy coffee 24/7 rather than the shop being open, you're getting a bag of beans for home. So this is talking about like a bean to cup vending machine where someone puts in their money and outspits a cup of coffee or outspits beans of coffee.
Well, I can't. Not enough detail.
We've done a lot of research here, guys. We're a really tightly run ship. We do a lot of work. So
that was a Rohan one. That was a Rohan one. Rohan prepared the notes for this episode. Was not me.
Do you know that RVS vending machines?
Know a little bit about them. So yeah, obviously that's the idea is you're looking at convenience coffees, your petrol stations. Like obviously some of the biggest, like 7-Eleven in Australia is the second biggest outlet for coffee, and obviously that's all super automatic and that's vending and that's consumer going to it. So it's kind of replacing staff in a way, and the people that interact with the coffee. So that I can see that's why that's heading in that direction.
I reckon this is a power move because just a few weeks ago we spoke about Lavazza acquiring La Marzocco or a large stake of La Marzocco. Now they're doing vending machines. They're gearing up for something big here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Global takeover. Wait, is Lavazza DeLonghi?
Oh, I don't know.
DeLonghi bought La Marzocco, I think.
Was it DeLonghi?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, that kind of ruins the thing. Let's just say it's one conglomerate. It's one
right.
powerhouse.
Well, let me go back to NBA here. Do you remember when there was that big trade in Utah, but before that trade in Utah, there was a little trade in Utah, and Brian Windhorst was like, "That's a very strange trade by Utah."
The Brian Windhorst. This is the one.
Trade. Yeah. So anyway, I'll take that. But yeah, power move. But geez, let's get into it with Jamie Thomson.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd like to start at the very beginning because it's a very nice place to start.
Okay. The book of Genesis.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go back to the pages. Now, Jamie, you and I actually met, back in, must have been 2010, 2010, working at a little place called 3 Bags Coffee. Now, if you don't know that was in Melbourne. It was kind of the it spot of the moment. I was just a little 19 or 20-year-old or something, and I'd been working at like a nice little cafe in Baldwin, but I was trying to move up to the next level. And I remember I got called in for an interview or for a trial shift. Got there at 6:00. Jamie walks in just straight away, just goes, "Hi, start doing this, start putting that, dial in that one. And he just stood there and watched me dial in. He's like, no, all wrong. Yeah. And he just goes this side. And I was like, okay, we'll have that. And then he just kind of went through the shift and just watched me and made me do everything for that first half hour. And it was funny, he was running me through all that. But then the big boss, Tolman, walked over to me and said, oh, can you make me a flat white? Saw that I could pour a Rosetta, some latte art, and went, great, you can leave now. We'll see you tomorrow for your first shift. So there was very different coffee standards there. Of Nathan was like, that looks pretty. Jamie was like, I'm going to put him through the ringer. Is there any early Rohan Cook kind of memories you have? What was your first impressions of me coming in and working for you there?
Look, I couldn't just stop you and Sonam and Mike just actually just mucking around all the time. Like maybe I was too serious all the time. And look, obviously, I think we talked about this story before when like we opened the second store next door and sort of wasn't even rostered on that day, but I was there between them because I was just so worried that, you know, between two machines, in like two venues, basically 2 bars in the one venue and, you know, 6 different coffees that everything had to be right. So I was like, I'm literally walking through with thermometers and just trying everything and just going, no, do it again. And
that's how pedantic this guy was with all of his coffee. He'd come, you wouldn't know, he'd just come over your shoulder. You just steam, and because as we do in all the barista shops, we just do it by hand and that's the right temp. He'd just come over your shoulder with a thermometer, bang, into the milk, and it'd be like, too hot, too cold, not doing this. But the one thing I remember doing, he did that to me and I immediately just went, bang, in the sink, tipped it out, made another one. He goes, spot on. And then you just went, thank you for making it again and actually caring. Because that was the number one thing that I felt like you cared about there, was just the care put into it, making sure that the staff are putting in enough care. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you're pumping out a lot of coffees and there's lots of customers coming through, but you're still trying to make the best and highest product that you can possibly. And at that time, 3 bags was right up there. So I always appreciated the care for detail from you on that.
So if I can butt in here, isn't that interesting that coffee kind of got this standardization later than a lot of industries? Like if you're cooking at a award-winning steakhouse, then you need to cook it to a certain degree. But I feel like that came later for coffee compared to like the wine industry and things like that.
I think we're still a very young industry and we're evolving. But look, I think that idea of what is a standard and, you know, like Rohan says, I'm one of the biggest internet trolls, and one of my things I always troll about is like when everyone complains the differences between lattes, flat whites, and cappuccinos, which are basically the same thing. And I know everyone will hate when I say that, but
well, let's get you looking straight to the camera. Lattes. What did you say?
Lattes, flat whites, cappuccinos, cortados, whatever you want to call them. It's espresso plus milk. It's the same drink.
Oh, yeah, it's a little early for an extra hot take. All right.
Yeah. So look, I guess the hardest thing and why I think standards are important, I probably more reinforced that when I got off bar and started working either in wholesale or what I do now, where I might go to 30 to 50 different venues in a week, and you really don't get the same thing anywhere you go. And I can finally understand why, like as someone who you'd have 1 day off a week or maybe 2 days off a week, and you try to go to as many other coffee places as you can because you want to try everything. And yet when you see the same regular, and you're always thankful for your regulars, but when they come and have 2 or 3 coffees from you every single day, I'm like, don't you want to try something else? And then I realized why they come to you is because you have created that standard, but there's no like universal standard. And I think that's where we're struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with you.
You got to go work in a coffee bar. Like, you know, let's think of the punter listening or watching this. It's like you got to go work in a coffee bar to truly know 100% what we're talking about. I mean, it's very, very reasonable to want the same thing day in, day out, but to bring it to you is challenging.
Yeah, to bring that to it, is very challenging. I find that like looking at that, I know when I was like working at the cafes, you'd even see people coming in being like, there was so much of like, oh, this person wasn't on that shift or this person wasn't on. You start to have your favorites of what you're doing and like how to do that. But there were things that you brought in that kind of tried to help standardize that, but there's still always going to be a lot of variance in between.
Yeah, well, look, I think that one of the things that we brought in is that we were one of the first places that had a volumetric Synesso. And I think at the time, particularly in 2010, we sort of had this first wave of Synessos and Slayers where you weren't a real barista unless you were making your coffee manually, which, you know, over the years I've definitely shown that that's actually not the case. And so you always get people criticize that. It's like, oh, why are you doing that? And also, well, that's because how we create standards. Like we have volumetric programming. I think I had like probably it was
Subi.
Yep.
I feel like we were one of the first bars that really had scales as well. Like, and I bought those kind of really dodgy scales, which I had for a few years before they got smashed at the St. Ali bar. But like the idea of actually weighing your coffee dose, weighing what you're doing, and having that sort of level of consistency. It's like, I mean, I know there was a comment on one of the videos. It's like, oh, just try and get one of these coffee pros to make coffees without scales. It's like, well, it's just like telling a baker. Would you tell a baker to bake in an oven where they don't know the temperature or, not measure out their ingredients? It's like, why are we not taking this in a professional way? Like any cocktail bar measures everything. It's what we should be doing.
But wait, is the question there that the coffee pro wouldn't be able to make you a good coffee without a scale?
I guess the implication for the comment was like that because we use a lot of tools in coffee videos that's what's determining it. It's like,
yeah, but of course you're going to use the tools to do it. But also, I could make a way better coffee than you without a scales or tools or equipment. I'd still make you a great coffee without a scale.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point. And doing it over and over again, it's like, would you take the speedo off your car? Like, it's like you need this
I'll
stuff.
throw one of our employees under the bus right here. One of the guys that works for me. He the other day started maybe 3-4 weeks ago, maybe a bit longer. And he's loved jumping behind the machine and starting to make some coffees, makes his coffee each day. I hear the milk screaming on the sides and doing all that. The other day we're filming and I'm like, oh, I'll just make you one. And I make it to him and he's a very low key kind of guy. He just takes it and has a sip and goes, Rohan, it's really interesting. This coffee actually tastes a lot better than the ones I've made. Why do you think that is? Just full sincerity. Why do you think that is? I'm like, probably has something to do with the fact that I've been making coffee for 15 years and you've been making it for 2 weeks. So that could be one of the main things. But yeah, just didn't understand that level of detail and skill kind of put into it.
Can tell that was office talk. But we're talking about what was then. Let's talk about what's now and what's to come.
What a segue. So I'm just going to compliment you right there. That just felt good.
Yeah, well, I mean, thank you. He never says many nice things to me, but here we go.
Yeah, well, you are a bit of an idiot, so it's just,
Okay.
When the good comes, I will give you the praise.
That was short-lived. What's next in coffee, in your opinion?
What's next in coffee?
Yeah, let's look at it. And I'll give you a terms of reference here. Technologically speaking, we're embracing a lot of, I don't know, automation, not quite automation, but assisted by machinery making of coffee these days. What do you think's coming next in the next 2 years?
I tell you what it isn't. It isn't fake coffee made out of guava and seeds and whatnot and sesame seeds.
Oh, like we were talking about the news.
Yeah. That's called a callback just for the fans out there.
What's going to happen in coffee? Look, obviously I would love to see, I guess, more focus on like the service side of things. I think people see the automation as being a negative, and I'm like, well, I think a machine can still make coffee better than most people, but a machine doesn't really serve the coffee. And I feel like there's an opportunity to actually treat coffee more like a service industry rather than, so if you think about like a barista ends up having to be like a chef and a sommelier at the same time. So they're making the product and serving the product. And I think if we can embrace working with the automation, you've got an opportunity to actually serve better coffee to people because you're not focused on not many chefs serve customers. That's, and look, I think Australia is probably the hardest one. I think we don't value anything in service. We're very transactional. So we don't see there's a complaint on price on everything. That's because we don't put a value on service. And yet you'll see in America where they complain about tipping culture because no one really values service. And I would love to see that happen more. I'd love to see more value that coffee professionals add in the service component of it.
And I think for coffee as well, something where people still might be developing their palates and that, I think that service side of things can really lift it to another level. I know that when I had kind of people that were just getting into coffee and they'd order a certain, let's say like an Ethiopian or something that's going to have more of that berry, more of that side. Sometimes I'd make them a shot of the house blend as well on the side and be like, comparison is really going to help you out here. Try the house blend first and then try that. Because sometimes they'll have the Ethiopian just by itself and it's like, oh yeah, I think I can tell the difference. But when you have it next to the house blend and then by itself, you're like, oh my God, the world of difference. I understand. I'm starting to get those differences. So I think helping people, educating people and talking could be a huge side to it.
There's a question here that you've written down, Rohan, that I'm really interested to ask both of you, but I'm going to augment it in a certain way. I'm going to give you Kirk's what's one place or one cafe in the world that you've seen online that you'd love to go drink at that you haven't been to yet? Anywhere in the world.
Oh,
For me, can I start?
yeah, please.
Roslyn Coffee over in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. Or Coffee Collective, one of those two. I'm probably hogging your guys' choices now. But I really want to go drink coffee there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did Coffee Collective years and years ago.
How's that?
It was great. It was really good. That was early days. That must have been back when I was first starting, the 2010 kind of days. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if I've definitely I don't know if there's like the cafes that I could call out. The guys were chatting last week with us about where they got the Mont Blanc from. That'd be cool to kind of check out. They were saying it was the cleanest cafe in the world. The name eludes me right now, but they were calling it the cleanest cafe in the world. So I'd want to see that. I tell you where I do want to go though, is at Fellow Restaurant. It's not coffee, we're talking food here, but Fellow in the UK. Those guys are crushing it on social media, doing the best videos. Food looks outstanding. That place looks amazing.
Oh, now I got to think. A question without notice.
I tried to talk for a moment just to give you time to think about it. I was just trying to ramble on for you, give you a little bit of time in there.
People. I wouldn't know a cafe as such. I think I'd love to get back to origin and just drink coffee at a coffee farm. I think there's just something that's probably like very few people get to do without, I guess, some sort of like ulterior motive. And I think we're very privileged to be able to travel to coffee farms. And, if I could tell anyone that to do, like, even just spend like a day working at a coffee farm, I feel like if you want to take coffee seriously and professionally, if you can do that at some stage and volunteer your time and just realize that, standing on bar for 10 hours is so easy compared to like harvest. And I think that's what would be cool. Like going to like, Lost Origin or going to, La Palma El Tucan or one of those like places and just sitting in those places and drinking coffee at those farms. Like I think the last one I was really jealous of was when when Matt Winton was in Colombia with Carlos. So two pretty good friends of ours there, and just like seeing and going, that's what I would love to do.
Well, we had Brew Boy Puck come on the podcast. I think our second guest, and he just travels back and forth through here in Panama. It seems like just trying the world's best coffee, and I'd quite like to do that too.
I also have the side of like obviously making a lot of content online. You see a lot of the other coffee creators. So some of the bigger channels, it'd be cool to go check out some of their stuff. Like I know Lance does a lot of stuff with Onyx Coffee Lab. Like it'd be cool to check out that. Obviously Hoffman's Joint and that kind of thing. Mainly just from, I guess that speaks to what I've been doing and spending a lot of my time looking at.
Actually, I got one now. If they still do it, they see the thing that Go Get Coffee in LA would always do like their Thanksgiving specials where they do all kind of weird and wonderful drinks. Like they always do these like even like non-coffee drinks or these like toffee nut lattes and like that were really like that. You always see those online and they always look really cool. Like, they do like peppermint mocha and it's all made with like ginger snaps and all these like, it's kind of like, that's what I think is really cool. I think that sometimes we miss that no one thinks about like creative coffee drinks that can supplement it. And they always do these like holiday drinks. That's where I probably want to go.
Nice. Now I've got a question just on, you obviously know there's so much about the ins and outs of coffee and how it's all made. It's an interesting thing because you look he's a nerd. Who said it? He's a nerd. This is where our producer will animate some glasses going onto you and boing, as we do it, because that's the stereotype of a nerd and we're very old school here and outdated, so that's what we'll do. So there's a lot of it's funny doing a lot of home coffee brewer stuff and learning online. Like you see people now making coffee at home, there's so many steps and things and it's whatever the next trend is. So it's spraying, then to papers on top, then to this.
Pisses me off.
Yeah, then to that. But obviously you have the baristas in some of the best cafes in the world. It's just like, and obviously the machinery is better, but it's like zzz, auto tamp in the machine.
Go.
There's your coffee. What's something like, what are the actual things that you think are going to bring the most change to a home coffee maker? Like what is the simplest or best thing that you can do to drastically improve the flavor of your coffee? And what are the things that you can cut out?
The easiest thing of this, and like we've already recorded one podcast on this, is water. Better water.
You were going to say water?
It's actually easy. In fact, I'd probably suggest that your home coffee brewer would get a better result if they had worse coffee and better water than better coffee and worse water.
Right.
If that made sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a short we need to snap.
So we did some videos on this. You can check it. Go check Golden Brown Coffee. Check the YouTube channel. We've got some stuff on water science there where Jamie takes it through. Would you suggest that the best way to do this would be you can make different solutions? You just do it in the dropper bottles on the side of the machine?
Yeah, the dropper bottles. Obviously, obviously someone else that's done such amazing work with this is Simon Guthrie, who's got his Apex coffee.
He'll be on the podcast soon as well.
Stop sending them somewhere else. Go to Golden Brown. Watch those videos. Don't go watch this other video.
Can I add something here as well? One of the easiest things that I did to make better coffee as a barista was actually read Barista Hustle blogs. And, they've got a really good educational tool now. So if you're both a barista or a home brewer, so maybe consider signing up to Barista Hustle. That's a free plug there.
That's a free plug. And that's the first one you get and the last one. So we want see some cash rolling in. Not any more of those plugs.
First one's free. No, I think water was probably the best thing. I think, and like obviously cleaning your equipment is really important.
Yes.
What parts are we cleaning? What's the most important part?
Like if you're using an espresso machine, like cleaning it, like if you think you've cleaned it enough, clean it again. Like it's just like clean it, over clean it. Like you can't over clean it and just
we have these things called pit stops at our cafe. So I'll say, call it a pit stop. Then, pull off the shower heads and give everything a quick rinse, even if it's during the middle of a busy service. Like those things, those are the little 1%ers that
absolutely.
Well, people love the cleaning stuff. And I tell you what, a lot of people have a lot of questions about what cleaning solutions they should be using for what parts. So maybe next time when you're in town, we'll do each stage of the cleaning process, the best way to do it, the descale, the group head, the steam one.
That's also one of the biggest things for making you a better batch brew as well, just keeping your pots clean.
Oh my God, dirty patch pots.
Yeah, just like because they can get dirty quick. So, maintaining those on the daily is very important.
And I guess knowing what look, depending on your budget, I would always incline to spend more money on a grinder than any sort of brewing apparatus, even an espresso machine. I feel like that you get the most benefit out of it.
You guys probably didn't get it because the headphones.
No, I heard it.
Oh, okay, yep.
Just ripping over here. Just ripping it. I thought you were heading to Curry after the show.
Oh, yeah. Jamie and I got a date at Spice Mix after this.
Yes. And I'm not in comp mode, so I'm unrestricted.
For those listening at home that don't know what's happening, it's a little stinky in here. Just got some wafts coming over.
I was going to tease you, like, gosh, can you hear that?
It's a professional.
I'll do it next time.
Let's talk about it. That's me going like, are you getting a bit hot over there? Is it time for
Yeah, well.
So, actually, this is the one where you should
I wonder if people are going to be able to hear that on the mic.
I hope so.
Please cut to like Homer turning the music up when he's the it's like, why do you turn the music up? And anyway, yes.
Back to coffee.
Back to coffee.
Where were we?
Well, I mean,
we were talking about home barista making coffee better.
So I guess depending on what you drink, I always say to people, there's a way. Like I would spend more money on your grinder over the machine, and like sometimes you're actually better off just like even like the most basic espresso machines make really good espresso. If you've got the right grinder, you've got the right grinding setting. Now, what holds them back sometimes is their ability to steam like really good milk. But, there's plenty of options in the market now with automatic steamers and,
And the temperature control sometimes I find a little bit up and down. But it's getting better with the PRDs. It's getting better with that.
Yeah. But if you've got a really good grinder, that's probably like the best place to start.
You got any grinder recos? That home grinder market?
Depending on your budget, but like the Fellow Ode is really good. I use that for Brewers Cup. I think that's a really cool grinder. Bit impartial to all the coffee tech stuff because, Frank's been really good with me and working with some of those grinders. So like, look, there's heaps of grinders out in the market. So just know what you want to get out of it. And a lot of these single dose low retention grinders are really good now.
Yeah, and they're getting smaller, they're getting more versatile and that kind of thing. Obviously the Niche Zero came out and was kind of like setting the benchmark there, but a lot of them have like caught up and it's getting to a pretty even race now and it's hard to set them apart.
Just to flex a little, I've got on order Malconic EK Omnia coming to the cafe. I'm really excited.
Big dog.
Can we do like an unveil?
Look, that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
Look at you just trying to slap us. I was talking about a little lowly home machines and you're like, well,
it's just I'm excited to get this.
How much one of those set you back?
Yeah.
No, we're not saying?
Next question.
D&D.
We're not saying?
Rip-offs in the coffee world. So there's a lot of good tech. I've actually seen videos of Joe from Barista Group posted he was in China. It's basically a lot of counterfeit things and a lot of things that just get ripped off and a lot of people that go to great lengths to develop things. And then people people just make variants of it that they aren't allowed to.
But what's interesting is it feels like that the coffee industry is one of the only, or the, you know, coffee community is one of the only ones where it's championing that and trying to be like, yeah, this is great, more for us, you know, making it easier for us, more affordable, like this kind of stuff. But it's kind of pulling innovation away from the people that are making it. I think there's probably the right ways and wrong ways to handle it. We've probably seen a bit of that coming out. But what do you think on the issue, Jamie?
Look, I think people like, I'm all for competition. I'm all for like affordable options, but the thing is, you clearly see that they're trying to capitalize on, say, like a design that, and I look, I know the thing, and I'll say it, like there's so many like rip-off grinders that look like EKs. That's probably the easiest one that people have replicated. And so like an EK is one of those things that you walk past a cafe and you can see it from the street. And so people, okay, they've got an EK. But then you see all these other ones and, you know, I'm not going to say any of the brands, but like they look pretty identical. And it's not until you get up and close and you kind of realize, okay, it's not one of those. I feel like they could have got to the same result without copying like the aesthetic. Like it's all well and good that you have a different grinder because realistically, like these things they're just blades and they're cutting up beans, right? But they're really cashing in on a like, okay, this is an aesthetic we know that people recognize. And so I don't have any problems with people wanting to create things at a lower price and an entry price. But yeah, I just don't think you need to do it at a ripping off someone else.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of room in the market and there are certain things where it's like you don't own that idea. I think the David Chang story that happened the last couple of weeks where he was trying to sue a bunch of people or cease and desist for using the term chili crunch instead of like chili oil or whatever. He had
so you can trademark
crunch.
words of the English language now.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was trying to shut down people from doing that. The funny thing is it probably actually brought more attention to them, and because it backfired so much, everyone's like, I'm going to go buy these other brands' Chili Crunch to support them and stand up for them. So I think there's that level of it where you're trying to control the market and trying to kind of like hold all of it. And then there's the ones where they're clearly just ripping off a company that have put a lot of time, a lot of development into something. And I think it really hurts those, especially those smaller kind of creators and makers and engineers out there that are just trying to get by and create a great product.
Yeah.
And that's my 2 cents on that.
Okay. All right. Well, tell us your honest opinion on coffee content that you see collectively. So you're going to have to take some shots at some people here unintentionally.
Yeah, you can. I'm
not after a diplomatic answer. You can throw Mr. puts orange rinds in a bloody espresso basket over here.
When have I put orange rinds in an espresso
you'll do it at some
basket?
point. You'll do it at some point. You're shameless. Be brutally honest. You can even rip Rohan down.
I think collectively we've got a long way to go to communicate what we do and what we are able to do. I was talking to, Leon this morning when I went and saw his place and it's funny once people realize that there is a fair bit of like golden brown content, that's stuff that we did, 10, 12, nearly 15 years ago that's only really just getting to the general consumer. And it's stuff that was really behind the scenes and it's stuff that we've been doing for so long. But I think we as an industry have been pretty bad at actually sharing this and which is why you get a lot of pushback from people when you have an idea that feels foreign to them. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute. This is like literally been going on for 10 plus years and it might be something like the extract chilling thing. And like this was I was saying with Leon, we were putting cups in the freezer in 2012 and doing essentially our version of extract chilling like 12 years ago. And it's not a new concept, but, people go, oh, that's rubbish. There's no science behind it. I'm like, well, there's plenty of science behind it. Like the Zurich University of Applied Sciences has actually done a fair bit of study on it. So it's like we're really bad at communicating.
And in saying that, I will say that was kind of the ethos that we started when it was like there's a divide between the cafe world and the home world with that. And Golden Brown's whole kind of mission at the start was trying to be like, let's communicate those things that we know simply to the home user to give them a better experience. But there's still so far to go. Yeah,
I mean, I guess it's like it's almost that age-old thing where when people go, well, how come food in a restaurant tastes better than food at home? And the usually simple thing is it's got a lot more fat and salt in it, right? And so why does coffee at a cafe taste better? Well, because there's a bunch of stuff that they're doing that you might not know. And I guess that's what you've been trying to do is trying to actually go, well, come behind the curtain and actually show that. I think overall there's just a lot of people post because something's popular or something's going to get traction, but they kind of don't know why they're doing it, or they're doing it in a way, again, like I've seen extract chilling videos where, I mean, Hugh Kelly has obviously been, like he was one of the first ones to, like obviously Bergwood was probably the one that took it world's first, but he was chilling the porterfilters. But, you know, Hugh's version is very much what is happening in the market. And I just remember him sort of putting a rebuttal out there saying, I think there's a lot of people doing it wrong where they're chilling the entire espresso shot rather than like the first part of it. But you'll see all these videos because it looks aesthetically pleasing to run the entire shot over a frozen ball. And it's like, yeah, you kind of missed the point.
Spray the coffee beans.
And it does, I would say, for like those coffee creators, because I know it's hard trying to come up with content constantly, that they're probably seeing something, not doing enough research and just doing it. I mean, sometimes where I see videos that I do and you'll see 10 videos come out in the next 2 weeks where it's almost verbatim, word for word.
Yeah.
Like what was said, like there's not a take on it or opinion. It's just like, that's what's going. And I get it. There's no criticism there. I find it hard being, you do kind of become a slave to the algorithm and like the certain videos. And it's like, well, I'll stop making it when you stop watching it. Like, you know, you get to a point of like, I do a really great in-depth video about something that's really helpful and educational, and it bombs out and gets no views. And then you're like, here's how to whip cream and coffee in a Coke bottle. And it's like 24 million views. And you're like, okay, well, you start to get trained by the algorithm to be putting a certain story out there as well.
Now I know a glimpse into the life of Rohan Brown, but Jamie's looking a bit flustered there, a little bit sweaty.
He is looking a bit sweaty.
A bit hot.
Why are you looking so sweaty? It's dripping off you. What is happening here?
Yeah, you're dazed and confused, aren't you?
I have no idea.
It's hot upstairs.
It's hot.
Yeah, he's crank yanking. There's like a blowtorch going off in Jamie's brain.
Oh, it must be time for a extra hot take with 2 sugars.
Whoa! We got it.
What is happening?
I might let us swear on this thing.
I mean, probably not, but we'll do it anyway.
Well, you lead the pack.
All right. Extra hot take with 2 sugars. Let's find where we are with this. The secondhand espresso machine market is killing the coffee industry.
Whoa.
Now, what? Yeah.
People are just trying to save a buck.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Good point. Anyway, next extra hot take.
Hey, go on.
Right. No, I don't know if it's killing it. I just think the secondhand market, some of these espresso machines, when you're looking at stuff, especially like a Lavazza or something, they're so good and you can repair them over and over again. You can take care of them. So then there's this secondhand market where people are coming in, selling secondhand machines. They're selling secondhand machines and cafes are taking them on because they can save a bit of money. They can do that. But then it's also hurting the people that are making these original machines. And maybe it's hurting innovation. Maybe it's hurting the growth there of being able to develop and sell more machines.
I think, yeah, look, I mean, I guess the perfect example of that could actually just be the Mazda Roba. And I think when the Roba E was released probably around 2009, 2010, it was kind of pretty, like as a single dose grinder, it was pretty like not single dose, but like dose on demand. It was pretty revolutionary. And then because they were just, again, well built, they just didn't do anything for 10 years. And like the Roba S came out in to late 2019. So literally for 10 years, they didn't change anything. They didn't think they needed to. And these these grinders last forever. And it wasn't until you had some market disruptors like, you know, Anthem or Malconic or what else, Mythos from Victoria Arduino, that they actually gone, oh, we need to make some changes. So yeah, I completely agree, because it's like almost like, okay, we've manufactured this and engineered this so well that it's going to last for a long time, and that's fine. But it's like, yeah, you're losing, I guess, that innovation or that, you know, because there's no need to innovate.
But that's almost a different point, which is maybe I'm not backing off my hot take. I stand by it. I believe it. But maybe it's like, I guess maybe that change just pushes these companies to have to innovate more so that there is a need to have the next thing. Or maybe we should just chill out and just use the machines that we've got and have a good time.
Jamie, what's your hot take with 2 sugars?
My hot take with 2 sugars is that
down the barrel.
The discourse that coffee prices need to go up is actually hurting the coffee industry.
It's kind of like I wish I had like you remember when Psyduck was confused in Pokemon? He was like, I'm like, well, how does that work, Jamie?
Yeah, but what do you mean? So, I mean, it's hard to run a cafe. It's hard to, keep everything running at the prices that people want it to be. So how can we not want coffee to go up?
I think what's happening, and look, now you've got traditional media. Again, it usually takes quite a long time for traditional media to, now that they're on social media, to sort of pick these snippets, and you'll see 7 News, ABC and all that, and is coffee too cheap? Should it be there? And they're picking off data from people saying that, objectively based on everything, that Melbourne's coffee price is actually one of the cheapest. By saying that as a statement, we are losing the nuance that we're now saying that all coffee is created equal. And it's kind of the opposite of what we've tried to say in specialty coffee. And a lot of people say specialty coffee is dead because they hate that sort of term, because everyone just sort of sticks their label on it. They sell 90% of their coffee as commodity, and they have 2 specialty single origins, and now they're a specialty coffee company. But by saying that all coffee should be a certain price, all coffee's going up, a coffee price in Melbourne wholesale rise, you're looking actually realistically between sort of $15 and $40 a kilo. And then you got commercial machines that range from $3,000 to $30,000. And so by saying that all coffee should be in a small price window, or this is what I'll pay for coffee, is kind of losing the fact that we're now just painting it with the same brush. And so we're not actually having a nuanced conversation. There should be coffees, like it says, is $5.50 too cheap? Well, there are coffees that should be $8, $10, $20. But then there should be coffees that probably should only be $3. So
ones that Kirk makes.
I just feel like we're not having a nuanced conversation, and it's very hard to have a nuanced conversation in a 30-second video with limited characters in your replies. But I just think that, us just saying all goes up, the people that will still actually suffer from this, because what will happen is you'll have big productions and big companies that go, cool, we can take advantage of the fact that everyone will now accept a price rise. We'll put our price up. They really haven't done anything to say pay a farmer more, pay their supplier more, put more into the supply chain. And the people who actually not benefit from it are the people who actually need to benefit from it. It's usually farmers and stuff. So we put the coffee price up here, but I think prior to COVID, Melbourne coffee in particular, the wholesale, everyone was a race to the bottom. Everyone's like, how cheap can we give you your coffee? And I can give you equipment online and all this stuff. And now we're turning around sort of crying poor. It's like, well, you kind of created it yourselves. Yeah. So that's kind of we need to be, I think transparency is the key, but not just saying everything needs to go up. It's being more transparent with suppliers and to your customers.
That's a hot take.
Yep.
Kirk, hit us. What do you got?
Collectively, Melbourne, Australia, world. We need to start drinking more batch brew. A little late there on the button press, but we'll double to make up for it. I like it, but it's enough. We're okay. I'm a bit thrown off now. It's you've done it so many times. It's okay, I see your point. It's good entertainment. I like it. But I'd like to see people. I think I've already covered the fact that I think the long blacks are overrated, but maybe that was a bit harsh. But if you want a 0 calorie, made quickly, made well, I mean, I get that not everyone makes it well, but we make it well in my shop. Get a batch brew. It's the 0 calorie, it's the lactose, friendly thing that you all need. Just people hear the words black coffee and they're like, ooh, run for the covers. But no, drink more batch brew. It tastes good. It's economical. You can get good quality coffee and it's good for you. And that is my extra take with 2 sugars.
Actually, I don't know if you remember this. Remember when we started brewing AeroPresses at 3 bags full? And I said I wanted to get rid of long backs by 2014.
Oh, yes, I do. I only remember the AeroPress because I remember you shattering the glass underneath it when you were pushing down on it and just blowing up.
I love that. I said, we're going to outlaw, I've very much been an anti-long black, and I apologize to anyone. It's just not for me. It just makes no sense, right? And so it's in a weird strength, yeah. So
I'm gonna disagree with you. The reason I drink, and this is it just comes out of necessity. I prefer an espresso or a double espresso, but I just get to the point where I'm I just want to be sipping on this for a bit longer. And I hear your point of saying have the filter coffee,
batch brew better.
and do that. No, long black. But I also agree with coffee as much as we talk about it and the flavors and all the different origins and this and this. I think people also just at a point get used to what they're having and what they're putting in their mouth every day, and that just becomes the kind of normal. That's why, I had a hot take last week about soy milk. That's why people like soy milk, because they drank it enough that they were like, oh, now I'm used to the flavor and I like it. But soy milk's terrible.
At the end of the day, It's just coffee.
It's just coffee.
It's just coffee.
Just coffee.
It is just coffee. All right. Is that about bringing us to the end of another episode? I just want to finish this one off. We don't often do this, and maybe we should at the end of the episodes. I want to say, Kirk, running an incredible cafe, Project Zero.
Ooh.
If you're in Melbourne, make sure to come. If you're visiting Melbourne, go see it. The level of detail and craft put in at that place and the amount of care is outstanding. It's the best espresso I've had all year. I couldn't praise it enough. The name again is Project Zero Coffee. Go and check it out.
Do yourself a favor. When you get there, ask Kirk to have a look at his ice machine.
Oh, yeah.
I know that you get probably, like, we all get excited about coffee, but I love to see that
It's one hell of an ice machine.
yeah.
And then I'm just going to plug myself, Golden Brown Coffee. Check out the Instas, TikTok, YouTube, all of it. We're uploading stuff all the time, trying to help people make better coffee at home. We're coffee without the snob.
And you know what? Tell 2 of your mates about this podcast. This podcast is going great places. Tell 2 of your mates. Don't forget Jimmy Butler. We need you on here.
Everyone tag Jimmy.
Everyone tag Jimmy.
And I want to say again, Jamie, thank you for joining us. You're my good friend, coffee mentor, and really appreciate you spending the time here with us today.
Knuckles.
Knuckles, baby.
All right. Thank you. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.